What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XDC Network today at the request of Mr. Hip, John Hip. We're doing this for you. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, all right? It's the third day of June. Third day of June today. We have about 8 hours left in the day, just under 8 hours there. Here we are at 6 cents on the dot right now. Looking like you want to go a little bit lower, but just a little bit, probably just a little bit, right? It's possible that you could find support here, but I think that, this far in the day, you would have found support if you were looking to. You do have bullish divergence at the moment, at least, but if this day comes down over the next 8 hours or so to the downside and you close red, this bullish divergence might not be fully developed. You might actually go a little bit lower, form that divergence closer to this low. Whoops, I didn't mean to draw it like that. Something that's a little bit closer to this low and then move up, right? It's very possible. And it's oftentimes that you break below these levels that people are like, oh no, it broke this low. Now it's dead. That line was so important. Now it's dead. It's oftentimes right when you're in those areas that you should buy, and it's actually about to move up to the upside, right? People get frantic when it comes to breaking something, right? A move like this, like you're not breaking this range yet, at least not at this point, right? A wick down and then coming back up really fast, a day closing down and then the next day closing up really fast, that's not breaking, right? That's faking. It's a fake out. And I'm assuming you're going to get some kind of fake to the downside move here. Daily time frame looking at this, you do have lower lows and lower highs in your RSI. You're clearly in a downtrend on the RSI. Downtrends tend to end when you're in the oversold zone, right? And they tend to end with bullish divergence, of which you have both presented right now. Downtrend here ended when you were in the oversold zone and you had some bullish divergence. Higher lows there, lower lows, slightly lower lows there. I mean, if you look, right, you got the higher lows right here, and then that was a slightly lower low, so that is bullish divergence. And you were in the oversold zone. Same thing here, right? Then you started an uptrend right there. That one didn't end in the overbought zone. Oftentimes they do, but they don't all have to. But I'm just saying telltale signs here that you're coming to the end of your downtrend. Whatever happens next is only meant to scare you, right? However far away you get from this imaginary line that has to hold, otherwise it's broken and it's going to zero. However far away you get from that zone is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The move that you have left is insignificant. The move that you have ahead of you is going to be very significant. You should be worried about missing the upside move, not the downside move, because when it does move up, it's going to be miraculous. We're going to get to that. First, we want to validate on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame if we are moving lower, okay? 1 hour RSI, 1 hour time frame. Honestly, this looks bullish. I like this formation. Anytime I see this, I don't care what time frame, 15 minute, 15 day, whatever. Yearly, whatever. If it looks like this, it's a pretty bullish setup, I'm not going to lie. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, I don't even mind the RSI. You've broken out of your downtrend in the RSI. You're above the 50. You actually look like you want to go higher. I mean, it's very possible. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. It's very possible that you're forming a double bottom now and that you are moving up, actually. It's very possible that I'm wrong and you don't move lower. Very, very possible. We're going to go over that too. But the 1 hour looks somewhat bullish. I would have to say that I think you're going to move up, actually, for the rest of the day, which is nice. 4 hour time frame here. Looking at this, the 4 hour looks bearish. It does look bearish. So a little confliction there in the 1 hour and the 4 hour. The 4 hour is the more significant time frame, so we're going to give it to the 4 hour as far as like the downside goes. Lower highs, lower lows. You do have bullish divergence here, I think. Yes, you do. But this move right here that you're experiencing, that could have been it, right? Because the divergence started here. Here's your move up. Now you're ready to move down. That something like that could very well be the case. But you're very, very near. You're very if you're not at the end of this downtrend, you're very, very, very near. Hold on, guys. Let me see something real quick. Hold on. Okay. Anyways, I didn't know. Apparently, I got a dentist appointment for my daughter. Yeah, lower highs, lower lows, the whole shebang, right? It would make sense that we are going a little bit lower here. The 4 hour does look bearish, so I'm going to give it to the bears. I think that you do go just a little bit lower, but that's reinforced by the 4 hour and my opinion that the Bitcoin and Ethereum prices are probably going to come down over the coming days too, so that might help. Looks good. It just might get a little bit bearish first, right? Like you kind of had that same look here momentarily. Right here, you had that same look of a double bottom, and then shortly thereafter, you actually came back down, and then eventually went down. You know what I mean? So shortly thereafter, I think that we will go down. We'll see lower lows. Let's look at this on a daily time frame and just see how low you're going to go. You really are in the appropriate area to find support. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but if you're looking to buy XDC, this thing is Absolutely at a proper price to buy. XDC network. Did I say XCN network at the beginning? I hope I said XDC network. I apologize if I didn't. The 0.5 is just down there, man. Get down there. Get your just a little. It makes sense that you would go just a little bit lower. The expectation is, at least as of now, I've concluded in my own head, in my own right, 5.77 cents is where you're going to go. 5.76 cents. You're at 6 cents now. We're not talking about anything dramatic, but probably over the next day or two or three, you're going to move down to there. If it's worse than I'd ever imagined, at the lowest, you're going to go to 4.5 cents, maybe even 4 cents, something like that. But tomato, whatever, man, you're going to move up very, very soon, and you will see even this, as terrible as that would be from here, because how much of a drop would that be on a percentage basis? 20% or more, right? Even as terrible as that would be, it's insignificant to the move that's coming afterwards, right? The move up is way larger than the move down. And the move up, we're going to talk about that now, okay? Looking at the weekly RSI, looking at this here, you're right at the 40, right at an area that you're expected to bounce. Same thing on the daily time frame, same thing on the price and the fibs. You're right in the area that you would expect to bounce. You're just not quite there yet, okay? If we're looking at this from a high back in August of 23 to a low in August of 24, kind of serendipitous there. I wonder what August is going to bring us this year. High to low here, what you're doing is actually very, very normal. Rejecting this area, finding support in this area, very, very normal. When you go up, the next expectation would be to hit the 1618 at least. The next expectation at a minimum would be to hit the 1618 at least. Okay, that's at 23 cents. You're at 6 cents now with the prospects of going just a little bit lower down to like 5.7, 5.8 cents, 5.6 cents, whatever. Something in that zone, right? 23.2 cents is your minimum standard, right? That's the minimum expectation. That would take you to new all-time highs. Now, my question to you is, if we're going to see new all-time highs, do you think we're going to stop there? Or do you think we might go higher? My expectation would be we go higher. Minimum target, 23.2 cents. Still active and alive, but that is about a 3.8x. That's about average. That's about an average performance of what we'd expect to see the average altcoin do between now and the end of July or sometime in July. But, in August, from August to, if it'll let me, what the hell just happened, man? My computer's being weird today. From August to January, you saw 632% growth. The average coin didn't do that. Talking about average, right? My computer's being really slow, man. I need to restart it or something. What the hell is going on? Hello, TradingView. I think it is just TradingView because I've used other apps today and it's fine, or websites, platforms, and it's fine. Like, I don't get glitchy on X or CoinMarketCap or anything else. Let's just see. This will validate it right here if I'm right. Let's see. Oops. Yeah, something's wrong with TradingView because it works in one tab, it doesn't work in the other. Anyways, I'm just trying to prove a point here, okay? In that same time, from August to the high here, the average crypto moved up 200%. XDC in that time moved up 632%, right? I have a hard time imagining that a coin that outperformed the average participant in the market is finding support now, right at its prior resistance. It's finding support now in its golden retracement zone, a very common area here. I have a hard time seeing you hit the minimum standard. 283%, that's the average expectation, the average growth, 200 to 300% for the average altcoin over the next 6 weeks. I don't think you're average. I think you've already proven that you're not average. So where are you going to go? Well, the next target area will do. 34 cents to 40 cents. Yeah, I could believe that. 34 cents to 40 cents, that could be where you stop sometime in July. And that would give you something on the lines like a 5x to almost a 7x. 5.7x, almost a 6x to a 6.7x, almost a 7x. Somewhere in that kind of area there. That's a good range. I think that you really could stop there, okay? It's also possible, breaking out to new all-time highs, that this coming move is larger than the last move. The last move was like 600 and something percent, right? From a low to a high, 632. You're breaking out to new all-time highs. You're finding immaculate support here. Might you just see a bigger move than what you saw last time? The bull market's developing. You're more mature in the bull market. Might you see a larger move because of it? Tends to be the case. So where's the next area? The 2272 here. And likely with the 2272, you don't stop there. Likely you exceed that target. It's very possible that XDC gets a 10x move between now and the end of July. So you have your targets, 23.2 cents at a minimum. With the 2272, oftentimes you go just above there. So let's say 69 cents just for shizzles and gizzles, right? 69 cents, maybe. Probably something a little bit closer to 61 cents, but just above 61 cents would be the expectation. Something from anything from like an 11x to a almost 4x potential is what I would expect. I'm very much expecting that you stop somewhere between 34 to 41 cents, but it's possible that you could go higher. It's possible you could stop lower. I hope it's clear as to what I'm expecting here. A little bit lower from here, then a lot higher from here. I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.